like, yeah, you know, if you don't enter the test, we can do something else. And it's just us two.
So we're back again, and if you know anything, we got the suits. On today's episode, we'll be covering what it's like being a student intern at the hospital, but more importantly, the suits, the gossip, and the teas of the hospital workers.
Whatever we mention, we will neither confirm nor deny if the characters mentioned are real. If these stories actually happen.
This will be our tagline for every episode coming forward.
Allegedly. All these stories are alleged. So there was this department I was in for about 6 weeks. I actually was only supposed to be there for 4 weeks, but I ended up extending because I actually did enjoy the department. Aside from, you know, the other things I may have gone through.
Like, I'm wondering if these things are even sexual abuse.
I don't even. That's the thing, and that's the thing about like one of the characters, because some of them are so bold. Like
if this was in the States and you did the acts that happened, like
and
you would be getting some fat lawsuits.
And like the perpetrator's friends or colleagues are ready to turn like a blind eye to like a lot of the weird behavior that goes on.
And most of these people are even married. It's like don't even think that these are single men in their prime. These are married men. Some of them whose wives even work in the healthcare industry in the same hospital.
You're giving away a little
They don't know. You all don't know because there were multiple departments. Even the other department, our favorite one, they had a wife there too. Guys, this is healthcare workers. Like,
but okay, granted, workers. This happens in like every institution out there.
Yeah, but having like first-hand experience, like I felt like I was reliving Grey's
Anatomy. You kind of expect like healthcare workers to kind of be a bit more, I don't know, like reserved about these things.
Not even reserved, more cautious. You know what?
So I went into this department, and the doctors there were really nice. That's the thing. It's so confusing because these people are genuinely nice until they do weird stuff that is like. So just like my logbook, let me go.
Like, you see that toe of yours.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, so when I went into this department, the senior most doctor in it was really okay. All of them were really intelligent, but he really knew his stuff. So immediately for me, because I really like am interested in my field, like, you know, in my career of choice. So when I see somebody who's like really into their work, I just, you know, kind of latch on because I'm like, teach me everything. Exactly, because I'm like, teach me everything you know. Like, I really want to learn. And also, we were very new there, so that is just heightened even more. So basically, he was really, really smart. I was basically going everywhere with all of them, but all of them were really cool. Anyway, so the first weird thing that happened was we were doing our rounds, regular rounds, and we were in the wards.
I feel like, I'm sorry to cut you, I feel like we're doing like a Me Too story right now.
It's not like that.
We waited till we finished every single thing to come up with those stories because, baby, hey, we were not about to ruin our experience while we were there. So, enjoy.
Listen, that's how she feels.
You feel sorry for
us. These are
the tales that a lot of students will not tell you, and we're telling you straight. We're not even making up stories.
Everything.
This is just a fraction of the things that happened or the things that we went through.
Yeah. So basically, we were there by a certain bedside, and this man just gave me his phone. He gave me his phone, and he's like, you know, it was like new contact. I'm like, it's my boss. Maybe he wants to like tell me when we have like what comes next round, the next day or
read up on the story.
Right? I mean, obviously, like, I found it a bit strange, but then again, not really, because it's also not uncommon for like other doctors to have your number as well. So it was just like, okay, this is how you do it. Great, no questions, nothing. It was just like I'm like, okay. Again, it's that thing where, like, you know, it's happening. You don't want to seem like
bad or
weird. Yeah, you don't want to be bad. It's kind of like, okay, cool. I mean, it's innocent until it's not.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So that was the first weird thing. Anyway, the days went on, and this man would just like say things under. You know how people say things under their breath? Like, he won't even try to whisper about it.
Damn.
Like sometimes he will, but other times he's just so bold. I'm like, friends heard that and they don't say anything. The others are just like, none of my business.
And you all know he's married. with a wife.
Yeah, he
In the
was a
hospital.
very married man. Like he was a very
Like
married
DP
man.
picture was family.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, he started to like say things like he was very innuendo, like he really liked innuendos. Like wherever he could throw them in, he would throw them in.
What's
It'll-
innuendo?
Like when you say something like
This girl
insinuating.
speaking her language.
No, sexual innuendo. That's what it is. Okay, but basically, yeah, he would always like say little things, little comments and stuff, and I'm just like sometimes it was funny, and then other times like it got to a point where it's like, okay, it can't always be a joke,
Exactly.
like you know. And then
Type
there
of
was this
patient.
patient, there was this patient that came through, and we were called to go assess the patient. So it was him and I, because the others were kept busy with something, I don't know. So he's a senior most guy, and he went over there, and I was the only student in the department at the time, so gravitated towards the senior.
Learning experience.
Exactly.
We want to
And
learn.
so there was this piece of equipment that he needed, because we assessed the patient and everything, and he's like, okay, to stabilize this patient, we need this thing. And where we get it from is like the room over there. So he's like, okay, let's go. And I'm like, okay, cool. Nothing weird about that. So we get to this room, and it's not exactly like a dark room, but it's like at the corner. It was like it was basically recess one. Yeah. So there's this room, kind of removed from where the action is and all. But you know, doors are all open, nothing's locked or anything like that. So we go in there, and then we're looking for the piece of equipment. I don't even know what we were talking about, but like we were talking. It must have been, it was something to do with, I don't know, either HIV or children, something. I think maybe I passed a comment saying like, oh, there's so many people coming in pregnant or something like that. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, what? People want babies now. I'm like, yeah, well, no. People just need to kind of calm down about that, you know, take their time and blah, blah. He's like, oh, are you having trouble with that? I can put a baby in you.
Bro.
I said, you know, like, for me, how my mind works, when I hear things like that, I stop and I start talking to myself. So I really don't even know what my immediate response was, but eventually said, no, it's cool. I can barely take care of myself, so it's fine. And just from there, I was like, I became very aware of the room we were in. I was like,
A dark room.
There's ain't nobody here, right? I'm
Locked
like,
up away. What did you get yourself into?
Uncle, I have to go home, Uncle. Yeah, I was just like, this is just weird. I don't even know what we talked about after that, but I just know I wanted to leave the room. And we eventually left, found a piece of equipment, and then went back to the patient and all that. That's the thing, it just continues like normal. Like it never even happened. So you're kind of like, if you can go mad, I don't know. And this other time when we were in a certain place, can't give out too much information. We were in a certain place in the hospital, and basically we were done doing whatever we needed to do, and it was him, me, and 2 other doctors, right? So when leaving the room, we were all done with whatever we were doing, and when leaving the room, it was a certain doctor in front that walked out, and then it was me, and then he followed immediately behind me, and he raised his hand, he's like, can I? Like looking down, and I asked,
Can you imagine a hierarchy to a student? Because we're not going to tell you his position, but it was a high position.
and he wasn't whispering. The thing is, that specific incident blows my mind, because it's like he's not whispering, he wasn't shouting, but he's not whispering, and it's not like it was like the first doctor went out and then 2 minutes later I went out. No, we were like basically like in a line, like I was 3 steps before behind the first guy, and he was basically like 2 steps, he was right behind me, and the other guy was right behind him, because we were all done, and he's like, can I? I'm like, can you what? And then I look at him and he's like, I'm like, yeah, no. And I made sure my no was loud, because
she has a nice bum. Check her out on my Instagram, you'll see it.
Anyway, so yeah, like I made sure my no was loud, because I didn't want it to be a situation where his friends think like, oh, this is what happens, this is normal between you two, and like there's probably more to this. This is a married man. He's well married, guys. There's this situation where we were in, it was during, it was cold there, but then we do like these clinic rounds. Yeah, so people come to like clinic and all that. And so that was before I had met his wife. So like he was sitting down on the desk, right? And then I went to the door, because I was the one like letting in patients.
I think I know the story.
I was letting
This girl
in
was
patients.
shaking up. her space.
No, listen, no,
She
it wasn't
was
like
thinking
that.
of
No,
her
listen,
space
let me describe
this
what
man's
happened.
desk.
No, this man was by his desk, he was typing away or whatever, and then I heard a knock. And then I kind of like walked toward the, but before that actually, so he was checking out an X-ray or something, and so I was like, he was like sitting right here, right? And I go like, I was literally like, it's a small room, so I'm not exactly like this, but I'm just like by the desk. I'm just kind of like watching what you're doing. Now, so I kind of watched, and then the knock came, and the door was slightly open, the door wasn't closed. So like I kind of look over there, and I see someone in a lab coat, but then they're not coming in, and I'm like, shit, I don't know who that is. So I'm like, I walk over to the door, you know, and I'm like, hi, good morning, can I help you?
Chick passing her place.
Can I help you? And then she didn't say anything. She just kind of continued looking, and then she looked into the room, and I'm like, oh hi, like, can I help you? And then he looked over and he saw it was her, and she'd come to collect some keys. So he got up and he gave the keys, and I'm like, oh. I was just like, I tried to backtrack. I'm like, where was I standing? How exactly was I just like,
How
it was
close
so
was
weird.
this?
It was so weird.
And I feel like she probably felt threatened, because if not, she would
Not
have
even
asked, she would have said
She said
something.
something,
Right? So she probably, like, the position would have seemed
I was
a
just
certain
there
type of
offering
way.
to help. I didn't know what she wanted. I just wanted to.
Damn.
But that's enough about him. Yeah, there was a lot more. Though even when I was leaving the department, my God, I had to do this test. So we go into the room, and it was a big room. The door was open, so I'm like, nothing can happen here, right? But wow. Yeah, he's like, yeah, you know, if you don't want to write the test, we can do something else. I mean, it's just us two. I'm like, is this how it works? Like, are we just so brazen? I was like, oh my God.
Guys, like,
I was blown away. And it's not like he just passed that comment once. He kept saying it over and over and over. It's like, yeah, you know, if you don't want to do it. And I don't know, man.
but I feel like what we need to also make mention is that we had a very good relationship with our superiors, like our registrars, our consultants. Like, compared to the local students here, we were more free with them.
We humanized them.
Yeah. I guess that's the right term to use it, because here everyone was like, no, this hierarchy thing where everyone is scared of
almost treating them like, okay, it's like pseudo gods or something. There's like this,
only one person can go talk on behalf of the rest of the students. And it's just
like we understand there's a level of respect that should be accredited to them, but then again, you shouldn't like make it seem so like they're so removed from you that you can't even approach them like regular human beings. We were really cool.
I feel like for every department that I went through, I probably had the contact of every single registrar and probably the consultant. Like, that's how freelancer. And these are people who I didn't
for maybe some of them,
over.
But yeah, she's more bold than me anyway.
I don't know. I felt. I don't know if it has to do with. I don't know. I was just open with them.
Yeah, like I also didn't like. You have to see it for you to understand like how the local students interact with their.
And the thing is, like, most of the times we were in departments where we were the only students, so it was also easy to build this type of rapport with the doctors compared to when you're with a group of the other students. So when you're in the group with other kids from the local schools,
you just blend right in.
Yeah, and then it kind of offsets you in a sense where you see them act a certain type of way that's supposed to be deemed respectful, and then when you are more open and casual, like, you kind of seem like, you know, who's this? Like, you know,
no respect.
Exactly. Why would you be something to a doctor like that? I'm just like,
weirdest thing. But then again, like, not to like really, we're not trying to like shame them or anything, because we do understand that this is a system they've grown up in. That's how it is for them from first year. Like, you should see how the first years or even just the 5th years and the 7th years interact. It's weird. It's like the high school stuff, guys. It's like, I'm your senior and you must respect me and you can't do that.
Like, it's bad.
We experienced it, and it was weird. Like, their juniors were more comfortable with us, and it's not even like they disrespected us or anything like that. Like, no, we were pushed over by them. No, we just like, okay, yeah, you're my junior, yeah, respect me, of course. But then again, like, I'm a human being, you're a human being. At the end of the day,
we're humans. We're all here to learn. There is no oh, I've
It
been
was
through this by
so
2 years or 1 year
weird.
over
It
you,
was
and then
so
suddenly, I don't know, it was
Oh
just.
my god.
And I used to hate being in departments with other students. And as much as you might learn, I hated the experience because one, you get so washed away with the crowd. Like in the crowd, you don't get to. I like having the opportunity to have hands on, and when there's a lot of kids, you don't get that opportunity.
Really
So while we built this relationship with the doctors and our seniors, that only happened because we were the only students rotating at that time.
Yeah.
So maybe if we had other students, they wouldn't be as serious as we took our rotations.
Unless they came in like after you,
exactly.
you had already been in the department. Yeah.
And that time, I remember when I'm about to transition into a new department, and then I will get like new students coming in that latter week. Everybody like, oh my god, so everything, like, oh my god, you're so cool with everybody. And I'm like, and I'm just like,
It's just
are we not
so weird, man. Like, it's so hard to explain, but it's an actual thing. Like,
right?
My god.
So the next story, this was when I was rotating in a particular department, right? So one,
choose your words carefully.
I'm trying to be very discreet with this story, not to give out any information that would identify this person. But
that will cause problems for me who might work at a hospital.
This particular guy, right, was supposed to be in her department when I started my rotation.
Simple instruction, really. Just go to the. Anyway.
This girl don't know how to give instructions. Some other
go
man.
to the secretary.
That's not
tell
what she
her
said.
to put you in this. That's the only instruction.
She left me with someone who left me astray.
Anyway, she ended up.
I ended up in another department, not by choice, by
God's grace. God's favor.
I don't know. This man just picked me and put me there. I don't want to explain the procedure because I feel that would like identify him. But basically, I ended up in his department. We had a good relationship, like as in working relationship. It was fine. But there was this weird thing that I noticed. Like he would be hard on me in the hospital, and then he's always on my case, popping questions, like quizzing me like on the spot kind of thing. I was like, why is this man mean? And I was the only person like why was he being so difficult? Like, why is he trying to be rude? Not really rude, but like trying to like embarrass me or something if I don't know a question. But then he would text me. Because when I joined his department, he somehow got my number to tell me what the schedule was, right? For when I was going to start, right? But then he would text me and he would be so like calm, like, oh, here's some information, go read on this, and like, oh, how are you doing? And then the next morning, he'll be like, so I'm just like, what is this, right? But basically, I left the department and I went elsewhere, and I remember running back into him on the wards, and we were having this general conversation about a particular sport that I played. And he made mention that he actually plays the sport. And I was like, no way, I haven't found anyone to actually play the sport since like Jamaica or since China, right? And he's like, we can actually plan something around that. And I was like, oh, cool, because I've always wanted to play it for the longest while. So we actually went out to play the sport, and everything was good. Like everything was chill. Like it wasn't. I feel like it was after like I made mention to her, and then people were like, oh, someone else as well, and they were like, you went out with that person? And I'm just like
I know we were cool with the hierarchies, but it's like, damn, you really jumped it.
I did not even think of a point. I was like, oh, I'm going out with this person, right? So I was like,
again, it's not that it was wrong, it's just very unheard of.
Yeah, like, they were like, wow, how did you get? I was like, he just asked, and I said, okay. Right? It wasn't like a date or anything. It was like literally, like, two people talking about football. It's like, oh, let's go play a sport. And I'm like, ah, cool. Yeah. So we went and we played a sport, had fun whatsoever. We were coming back, and we had a discussion about a certain type of lifestyle that I observed in Zambia and clearly in the hospital. And I'm really trying to be vague, guys, because I don't want to identify this person, right? So we had a certain type of conversation. We had a conversation about a certain type of lifestyle I observed here in Zambia and in the hospital, and I don't know why he got touched. Like, he was mad. He got pissed. He said a few things here and there and whatsoever. Like, the tension was so weird driving back home. Like, it was just, I don't know, it was crazy. Like, that scariness, like that madness that you kind of get scared, like, okay,
I need to go home. Like the ride in the car the next day when I picked you up and you were telling me about
like, I was like really scared. Like, I was just like, what? Where is this coming from? Like, it was, man, I don't know. But basically, he dropped me home. He did apologize. It's like, oh, I lost it a bit and blah blah blah.
But it's like the damage.
But exactly. So I felt like at that point, that's when our friendship, quote unquote, kind of diminished a bit. Like, it wasn't like we weren't as tight again as that point. And But then, like, I mean, there were slight, like, he would try to like have us hang out again, but then I started questioning. I'm like,
was it like innocent or was it like
exactly? That's what I was just like. Is this like, you know? Is this an innocent, let's chill, or is this like? But then this man is a married man, like, you know what's going on. So again, this story, like, there's so much I want to say, but I can't say because I really don't want to describe this person. So I'm just gonna end it here.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is because there was someone else on that particular team who was also trying to get with me. Like, it was so crazy. Like, even to the very day I left the department, they were just like, say he's just gonna turn down my coffee break, and I was just like, oh Jesus. And these people are very close in hierarchy, by the way. So I was just like,
just there jumping, big guns. Some of us are trying to like throw stones like David.
Oh my God, it was, I don't know, it was just, I mean, I was fresh on the block, fresh in the country, but hey, it was scary to see the things that was going on, because I'm just like, if this is happening now, imagine what was happening before. Like, like, if this is a student, like, I'm a student, so imagine the actual staff, like, the actual nurses and the interns, like, yeah, I told you, the hospital was a brothel.
And these are just like some of the stories that just stand out. There's like a lot more. There's other times you just meet people, you don't even work with them, you don't know them, they don't know you, and it's just like they say things and it's like.
And I feel like it really made me question when someone was like, how did you go out with that person? Because based on the hierarchy, they shouldn't be mingling with students, right?
Like, it should just be.
Exactly. So, and then I started questioning, I'm like, is this normal?
Should be water.
Is it not normal? Like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into, because for me it was very platonic. We were just like chill, but then again, the culture here with the students makes you start guessing, like, am I overstepping boundaries? Like, is this wrong?
Because even I didn't know. Like, I studied in China, so I have no idea what the system is like. I mean, I know there's some level of respect, there's level of like dissociation that's supposed to be there, but I don't know to what extent.
Because I'm just like, am I supposed to say no? If I say no, I'm gonna have a hard day at work the next day or something.
Anything weird happened when you went out for the game, right?
No,
there was nothing. Like, no. No.
So I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, if you're an international student, or even if you're a local who studied abroad and try to integrate yourself back in your country's hospital or your home country's hospital, like, just tell us in the comment below, like, what your experience was like coming in. Did you face this kind of weird interactions? Were they normal? Are they not normal? Because I don't know. And I think the only thing that makes me kind of hold back is the fact that he's married. But then I'm just like, but why should that matter though? Because I'm not going on a date. Like, I'm just going to play sports. But then,
and that's just what you did.
Exactly. So, but is it like, should a married man not be going out to play sports?
Yeah, it's very
or
weird
not be out to the students?
I don't know. Like, even I don't know. Like, I don't know. I guess it just goes with the spirit. Like, once your spirit says no, just don't go.
Yeah.
Speaking of which.